Okay, we continue in Shmuel Aleph, Perek Yud Zayin. We're on Pasuk Mem Gimel. After Goliath sees David, and he's very much insulted because look who they're sending in front of me. So he continues in Pasuk Mem Gimel. Vayomer haPlishti el David. The Plishti says to David, Hachelev anochi ki atov elai b'maklos. Am I a dog that you come to me with sticks? And Chazal darshan over here, by the way, that his mother, already we mentioned, was not the most moral person in the world. And not only did she have relations with hundreds of people, she also had relations with dogs. So, there is a little dogginess to him. He says, am I a dog that you come to me with sticks? And the Plishti cursed David by his God. So, in other words, the Malbim explains that Goliath originally thought this was going to be a normal duel, a normal battle, with soldiers fighting soldiers. And therefore you need to have weapons and proper armor and things like that. And now he sees he comes without a sword, without any weapons. This isn't what it's all about. He's mainly just coming to insult him. So he says, that's a big insult to me. You treat me like a dog. People come to dogs with sticks. So therefore he cursed them out. Mem Daled. So Vayomer haPlishti el David. So the Plishti says to David, L'choi, come to me. I will give you as the flesh to the birds of the heavens and to the animals of the field. In other words, he's saying, I'm too embarrassed to come to you and fight you. I don't, just like you say, you don't hit a guy with glasses, right? It's an expression. How can I go and fight a guy who's got sticks? It's an insult for me to come. So you come to me already, and I'll give your flesh to be eaten by the animals because you've come to embarrass me. If you would have come to me with a sword and with a battle axe and with armor, then it would have been a dignified fight. And then we know when a person loses such a battle, at least he's given the courtesy that he's buried on the field with great honor. If you would have lost, we'd let you be buried in great honor. Now I want you to be eaten by the animals because you've insulted me and you deserve the worst. Pasuk Mem Dalet. Mem Hey. So that was Goliath's infamous last words. Okay, now we see the great words that David HaMelech says. Mem Hey. Vayomer David al Plishti. David says to the Plishti, Ato bo elai becherev uvechanis uvechidon. You come to me with a sword and a battle axe and all kinds of military equipment and weapons. I come to you in the name of the God Tzvakos, the God of hosts, Elokei Ma'archos Yisrael, the God of the legions of Israel, Asher Cherafta, which you cursed. So the Malbim explains, David is informing him that the fact that I didn't bring weapons, because I don't put my trust on the weapons. I don't put my trust in natural things. I put my trust in that God that you have been cursing. And in that name is the one that will defeat you miraculously. So, again, it's interesting. We're coming across the name of Hashem that is not used too often. The name of Hashem, Tzvakos. Hashem Tzvakos. When was the last time we had that? We mentioned from Rabbi Michalowicz, whenever you have that word Tzvakos, it means there's a major change in the way that God runs the world. A new era is coming. It was used in the beginning of this Sefer when Chana referred to Hashem as Tzvakos. And we said when Chana used the name Tzvakos as Hashem Hashem, Tzvakos means literally Hashem. It represents the Hashem that deals with the masses of the Jews in a unique fashion, and that requires a different type of leadership in the world. A new era is happening, and when it was with Chana, it was the new era that she'd have a child, Shmuel, who changed the whole nature of how the Jews deal with prophecy. And until Shmuel came along, prophecy was the exclusive domain of very few people, and Shmuel opened it up to so many people, and that was the new era of prophecy came into the world. And it changed from the era of the Shoftim to the era of the Nevi'im. So here too, there's another major change that's going on over here. And what is that? That David is about to make a major Kiddush Hashem. The concept of a Kiddush Hashem before the world. Shaul was a tzaddik, but he never made what we would call a major Kiddush Hashem. He may have lived the life of Kiddush Hashem, but to see an actual event of Kiddush Hashem of such a stature, where a human being is showing how much he can be so connected to Hashem, and Hashem will respond with miracles in front of everybody. This is what David HaMelech is ushering in over here. And let's read for you a few words from the Yalkut Shimoni over here and see what exactly is going on over here. So the Medrash, this is really in Shmuel Beis. When David HaMelech wants to get the things ready to build the Beis HaMikdash, and he's told by the prophet that he cannot build the Beis HaMikdash. So the Navi says, it says, Lo tibana bayis lishmi, Hashem says, you cannot build a house in my name, ki damim rabim shafachta, because you spilled much blood. David HaMelech was a great warrior, and he spilled a lot of blood. So the common understanding of that is that since the Beis HaMikdash is a house of peace, it's a house of shalom. So no matter how good you were, David, and you fought wars for the Jewish people, there's no question about it, but your hands are filled with blood. It just doesn't fit. The world cannot appreciate how a man of blood can build a house of peace. Right? So this is an international house of peace. And you are viewed by the nations of the world as what do they use the term now? You're guilty of war crimes, David HaMelech. You've killed so many Plishtim. You've killed so many people. So how it just nothing personal, David, but you've killed a lot of people. A man who kills a lot of people cannot be associated with the house of peace. And it's not that you're a bad person. It's just you cannot be that man of peace. That's the simple meaning. But the Yalkut Shimoni turns the whole thing on its head. He says, Kivin sheshama David, when David heard this, that he wasn't worthy to build the Beis HaMikdash, Kach, Nisyarei was afraid, Amar, Harei nifsalti milivus Beis HaMikdash, I've been rendered unfit to build the Beis HaMikdash. So the Medrash continues. Amar LaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem said, David al tira, don't be afraid, chayecha, by your life. Ki heim lefonai kitzvi v'kayal. These people that you've killed, they're like animals, like a deer, like a ram. L'kach nemer, therefore it says, shafachta arza, you poured their blood to the ground. Vein arza el tzvi v'ayol, and the word arza must mean we're only talking about blood that's coming from a deer, coming from a ram. Shnemer, it says, al ha'oretz tishbachenu kamayim. When you have a korban, you spill the korban on the earth like water. That's one shot. But the shot that we really want over here, they're like me, like their korbanos. Each non-Jew that you killed is like bringing a korban to Hashem. For you have spilled much blood, but shvichas dam. Lefanai, ve'ein lefanai el korban. The word lefanai, before me, means a korban. It says you have spilt much blood. It didn't just say you spilt much blood, but the extra word lefanai, before me, you spilt a lot of blood before me. What is that word lefanai, before me? Because lefanai only means a korban, because it says v'shachat es ben abakor lifnei Hashem. You slaughter the animal before Hashem. So what was Hashem saying? Hashem saying, I look at every Philistine that you killed as a korban that a kohen slaughters and brings as a korban on the mizbech. This was holy offerings that you presented before me. So you don't have to worry. There's nothing wrong with you. You were an amazing person, and you brought korbanos to me. Omer lo, so David Melech said, so why can't I build a Beis Hamikdash? If they're all holy korbanos, why can't they build a Beis Hamikdash? Omer lo Kadosh Baruch Hu, shimata boino aisai hu kayim v'nenet charav. Because if you would build it, this is the same reason a Medrash gives why Moshe Rabbeinu could not enter Eretz Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu could not enter Eretz Yisrael because he would enter Eretz Yisrael, he would build a Beis Hamikdash, and Moshe is the midah of Netzach, of eternity, and a Beis Hamikdash Moshe Rabbeinu would have built would never have been destroyed. And it's the same thing Hashem is saying with David HaMelech. Because if you build the Beis Hamikdash, David Melech Yisrael Chai v'Kayam, he lives forever. What he does is forever. Hu Kayam ve'ein acharif, it'll last forever. It can never be destroyed. Amru lo, he said to him, Varei Yavram leKadosh Baruch Hu, Goli v'tzofui lefanai shehei masidim lachto. Hashem says, I know the Jews in the future are going to sin greatly. Therefore, Vani mafik chamosi bo, I will therefore let my anger be focused on the Beis Hamikdash. Umachrivo, and destroy the Beis Hamikdash. V'hei nitzol, and the Jews will be saved. That's the point. Because when the Jews will sin, there's got to be a punishment. Now, if you build the Beis Hamikdash, it cannot be destroyed. So where will the anger go towards? Go towards the Jews and kill Jews. Therefore, better destroy the Beis Hamikdash. But Hashem says, Hoyol v'chashavta livnos, since you really want to build it, af al pi sheshlomo bincha b'neu, even though your son Shlomo will build it, but lishmach ani kosav, but in your name I write it. And therefore it says, we say it every morning, Mizmor Shir Chanukas Habayis LiDavid, a song for the dedication of the Beis Hamikdash for David. So what do you see from this medrash? You see this medrash that where in the history of the world do we have that Hashem looks at a general who kills people that's like korbanos? It's David HaMelech. You don't find this by other people. It's like korbanos, and that means that he's making, because it's a korban, because a korban is by definition is Kiddush Hashem. So David is beginning a life as a holy warrior to fight wars as korbanos. Because David, as we said, that's the midah of Malchus. He could see Hashem at the battlefield, even when he's killing his enemies. He still perceived Hashem under all circumstances, and being able. And this is the beginning of his life of Kiddush Hashem. And that's why David HaMelech, in the battlefield, is the one place where the person wants to get carried away with himself, with his greatness. See, that is the tragedy of amongst the miraculous events that's happening in Eretz Yisrael today. That the warriors, by and large, have an opportunity to do Kiddush Hashem, and they don't allow it to happen. And everyone says, Kol HaKavod LaTzahal. I'm not taking away from their courage. But if they would all get up and say, it's not me, it's Hashem. That's all. That's all Hashem asks from them. Even if you're not a Shomer Torah mitzvahs, just say it's Hashem. That's all. Just say it's Hashem. You can get in the world stage and make a Kiddush Hashem. That's all you have to do. And you can see why Hashem is making so much troubles. Because you have an opportunity to Kiddush Hashem. You're not making Kiddush Hashem. You see miracles. I do miracles before your eyes all the time. Just say it's God. And when you meet with the secular soldiers, they say, you know, we don't talk about God in the war, in the army. God's not in the army. You know, in West Point, when a Jewish person doesn't wear kippah, and a 3-star general who's a Baptist will tell them, we don't teach about Israeli wars because we know God fights your wars, but the Israelis themselves can't see that God's fighting their wars. It's a terrible tragedy. That would be a Kiddush Hashem. That when they all would tell, you know, all the reporters, we fight the wars for Hashem, and Hashem is the one who gives us victory. Then it would be a whole different thing. And that's what David HaMelech. People don't know the great warrior. He's saying it right away. The beginning of before the first enemy he ever killed, he says, "You come with weapons. I come with Hashem here. I've got nothing. And I will still defeat you. Why? Because Hashem will want you to be defeated. So that's the idea of tzvakos. We're entering a new era of Kiddush Hashem on the battlefield. So this is a great opportunity. So David continues on Pasuk Mem Vav. He continues and says, Hayom hazeh yisagercha Hashem. Look how many times he's going to say Hashem over here. Yisagercha Hashem biyadi. Hashem will deliver you into my hands. Vikisicha, and I will hit you. Vasirosias rosh gamelecha. I'll remove your head from upon you. V'nasati peger machana plishma yom hazel of Hashem. And I will give your carcass amongst the Philistine camp to the birds of the heavens, ulachayas aretz, and to the animals of the earth. V'yedu kol aretz, and the whole earth will know ki yesh Elokim liYisrael. There is a God for the Jewish people. Mem Zayin, v'yedu kol hakol, and everyone around here will know ki lo b'cher v'chanis yoshia Hashem, that not by the sword and by the shield and by the weapons does Hashem save the Jewish people. Ki la Hashem ha-milchama, because the wars belong to Hashem. V'nosan eskam b'yadenu, and He gives you into our hands. Now, if you had the Minister of Defense of Israel say this, wouldn't it be the most amazing Kiddush Hashem in the world? What's it cost him? What does it cost him? You still don't have to keep Shabbos. You don't have to, just admit it's Hashem. Finished. That's it. Hashem's not going to punish these guys because it's saying, why didn't you keep Shabbos? Since you saw I did miracles for you. You know you did miracles. So why didn't you just acknowledge it? That's why when they don't, it's the greatest chil Hashem. It's the greatest desecration of Hashem. Now you have good religious boys in the army who understand that. But they're still not yet the majority, and they're still not really the spokesman to the world. They're not allowed to be a spokesman to the world to say this. And if you'd have a minister of defense who was a frum boy, frum man, and he would say this, it'd make all the difference in the world. Right? So that's what David HaMelech is saying over here. He's saying, it's not my strength at all. Right? And not only you are going to be given over, but the entire Philistine camp will be given over to one man who trusts in Hashem. And therefore two great benefits happen. Number one, that all the nations of the world that don't believe in God's Hashkachas Hashem will recognize and know that there is a God for the Jewish people. First of all, the Goyim will know this. And the Mem Zayin says, V'yedu kol hakol, the whole congregation, and all the Jews, even who believe in God's divine supervision. But they thought until now Hashem helps only in natural ways, and therefore they prepared so much weapons in that, because they're starting to think that maybe it depends a lot on our efforts. So he says now they're going to know that it has nothing to do with your efforts, not a drop, because only Hashem is the battle, is the warrior. So it's a Kiddush Hashem for the Goyim and a Kiddush Hashem for the Yidden as well. Because even at the end of the day, as much as we say, yeah, Hashem wants to make the effort, somehow we give our effort a little bit more credit than we give Hashem. At the end of the day, even if you're card-carrying, believing religious Jew, at the end of the day, you still think, yeah, but if I wouldn't have my guns, now I have this, we'd be finished. And you're borderline. Hashem says, even the religious Jew has to know it's totally Hashem. Totally, totally, totally Hashem. And you're going to see it all because I'm not using any sophisticated weaponry. I'm not suggesting we should, not have any weapons anymore. But when you go to war with the weapons, your weapons are zero. You remember zero. And it's all up to Hashem. And that's the tremendous Kiddush Hashem that He's making to the world and to the Jewish people themselves. Okay, so you get contrast Goliath to David. Two different, it's the ultimate of evil was speaking, and the ultimate of righteousness was speaking. And now, this is what they say. You're putting God's credibility on the line, David HaMelech. Because now you're forcing God to do a miracle. You're pushing the envelope. If David HaMelech would lose, this would be the greatest Chil Hashem possible. If you go to battle, Stamazoi, Chafni, and Pinchas took the Jews into battle, and they lost in battle. But they didn't speak in the name of Hashem like this. David HaMelech laying it all on the line. Either it's going to be the greatest Kiddush Hashem, either the greatest Chil Hashem. So let's see what happens in Memches. So those words irritated Goliath so much. He's talking about God, 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 God. V'haya Ki kama Plishti was when the Plishti got up. Vayelech, he went. Vayikrav, likras David. Now he's the one who gets close to David because he got him so incensed. So before the Plishti said, "You come to me," but he got the Plishti angry. So now he's running to David. Vayimaher David. Now David quickly. Vayorat Hamaracha likras Plishti. He runs into the battlefield towards the Plishti. He has to get within close enough range. You know, he as they were having this final battle of words, David was out of slingshot range. And the Plishti's coming, so David says, "Okay, fine, I'm going to come to him. I got to get within slingshot range." Pasuk Memtes. Vayishlach David es yado lakeli. David sends his hand into the utensil, into his bag. Vayikach misham Evan. He takes there a rock. Remember, he said before he had 5 rocks, right? Same thing was said by Yaakov Avinu. He put all the rocks, and then says he took the rock. So that's where the Medrash said that all the rocks coalesced into one. Vayikala, and he, what do you call it? Slingshots it. Vayach es Plishti al mitzvah. He hits the Plishti on the forehead. Vatitzba evan mitzvah, and the rock sunk into his forehead. Vayipo al ponav orza, and he fell his face flat to the ground. Lazoi. David throws the thing, hits him in the forehead, and falls forward. So now there's 2 questions that have to be asked. 2 obvious questions have to be asked at this point in time. Number 1, how did the stone get through the helmet? We said that he was thoroughly protected. He had a helmet on. Since we got a helmet, does it hit his forehead? The helmet's protecting the head. That's the whole idea. Question 1. Question 2, if you're going like this and you're hit by a slingshot, how should you fall?
Backwards.
You should fall backwards, not forwards. Right, those are the 2 questions that are asked over here. So the Radak deals with them. Everybody deals with them. The Radak says, number 1, how did it get through the armor, through the helmet? So he says, a number of answers. One answer is that he said, when he said, "I will give your flesh over to your flesh to the birds of the heavens." So Goliath looked up. It kind of pointed to the birds of the heavens; they'll eat you. When he looked up, the helmet kind of, moved back. And then when he put his head back down, the helmet didn't cover totally his head. So he kind of moved out of place. So then he was able to hit that one vulnerable spot. That's one interpretation. So, one second. Then he gives another interpretation. He says that it was almost like a miracle. That, in other words, there's nothing holds Hashem back, and it was able to penetrate through. It was able to penetrate through. It's short to make a miracle. It just went through. And that's what he says. Is one of the places where Hashem made something soft go through something hard. Or you could say that perhaps within the armor, there's like a little crack in the armor, a little crack, and it just made it, that one little crack he made it through. Be that as it may, so the interpretations range from the totally natural to the totally miraculous. In other words, it doesn't really matter how it has to go through. It made a way through. Now, the other question was, why does he fall flat on his place? Right? So he brings a drush. The Medrash says, why did he fall on his face? It's that the mouth that cursed Hashem should be licking the earth. If he fell backwards, he'd fall on the back of his head. Hashem wanted to fall in his mouth. To say that mouth, Mida Keneged Mida, it was your mouth that cursed Hashem, it's your mouth that will eat the dirt. Right? Also, another interpretation is that he worshipped, remember, they worshipped the god of Dagon. And the Dagon was like, he had a part of the idol on his heart, placed either as a ornament or something. He had the idol on his chest. So therefore, wanted to fill the pasuk that the carcasses. The pasuk says, when you destroy the non-Jews, they'll they'll be destroyed upon their idols. So he wanted him to die upon his idol. By falling forward, he falls down upon his idol. Okay. That's a different interpretation why it happened that way. Rashi says something from the Medrash which is quite unusual. And I can't give you further elaboration what the Medrash says. He says, he didn't want to pain David HaMelech, because David would now have to go and cut his head off. So he didn't want David to have to walk an extra 12 amos to kill Goliath. Because Goliath was, remember, 6 amos plus. Oh. So if he falls this way, David HaMelech has to go all the way to the head. But if he falls this way, he's saved, from here to there. Since his whole body was 6 amos plus a span, so he saved 12 amos plus 2 spans. It made it easier for David HaMelech to kill him. He didn't have to go that much further. Okay, so so how much longer would it take David HaMelech if he's running? Another 3 seconds? Okay, maybe in those 3 seconds. Remember, Goliath is not dead. Goliath's not dead yet. He's stunned. He's a big guy, got hit in the head, got a little woozy, fell forward. Could be he could regain consciousness immediately. So I guess, make it as quick as David can to get him. But whatever, Hashem wanted to make it easier for him to be able to kill him. So you see, for a tzaddik, even a little bit, it's still something. Hashem doesn't hold back anything from him. And finally, what does the Malbim say? First of all, he says, part of the hashgacha was that he got him on the first try. Like a direct hit on the first try, that's quite unusual, right? And to get him right into one spot that was vulnerable, right? And then he fell forwards, right? It's all miraculous. All to show it's all part of hashgachas Hashem. You can't even just say, well, he's an amazing slingshotter. It's the power of the great David HaMelech, the slingshotter. Yeah, but everybody knows if it was a great slingshot, the ghost would fall backwards. So it's all showing, again, that Hashem is totally miraculous how he was able to destroy him. Pasuk Nun. But still, Goliath is not dead. So now what happens? So David is able to overpower him with his slingshot, Ubo Evan, and with the stone. He hit the Plishti, and he's going to kill him. He's not dead, but he gave him a blow that would cause him to be killed. As the Malbim says, he already saw the great miracle that happened, right? That although he was armed to the hilt, he's still able to hit him good enough that he would eventually die. But since he saw he's alive still, and David does not have a sword, so how's he going to kill him? Nun Aleph. David runs. He runs to the Plishti. He takes Goliath's sword, which was very large and very heavy. He takes it out of its sheath. He kills him. He cuts off his head. And the Plishtim saw that their great soldier died. And they ran away in fear. Vayakumu nun beis. Vayakumu anshe Yisrael v'Yehuda. Now the Jews got up. The Jews of Yisrael and Yehuda got up. They got encouraged. Vayaru, they're screaming out. Vayirdu v'Plishtim. They chased after the Plishtim ad Boach Hagai until they came to a place called Gai. V'ad Sharei Ekron, until the gates of Ekron. Vayiplu Chalei Plishtim b'derech Sharayim. And many dead Plishtim fell in battle on the way to Sharayim, Vad Gas until Gas, Vad Ekron until Ekron, and it was a great victory for the Jewish people. Okay, so now you could say, so wait a minute, wasn't there a deal that the winner is decided and the others will be slaves? If you recall what the Malbim said it's only if they did it as a proper duel. And the Jews never brought anybody. And then Goliath said, forget it, the deal's off. And more than that, this wasn't even a proper duel. So the Plishtim, of course, you don't need anything more than that. Why should a Plishti keep his word to begin with? But now they had like a pretext. First of all, you never came to him the whole time he said, let's make a duel. And now you brought a guy not even in a dueling way. So all the deals of a duel are off. And we're just running for our lives. And the Jews are able to kill them. Nun Gimel.
Just a question?
Yeah.
In the English, it makes it sound like he killed He was dead already before the sword.
Yeah.
No, Mom doesn't learn that way. Mom doesn't learn that way.
So they killed him and then he took the sword.
No, it's.
Does in this one.
Rabbi Arthur does.
Anyway, what's it?
By the way, there's.
Mom doesn't learn that way.
Took the sword and killed him.
No, because it says the word vayachas, because it says before he cut his head off, it says he hit the plishti vayimiseu and he killed him. The Mom says he gave him a blow that would ultimately cause him to be dead. It doesn't matter. Kill him then, didn't kill him.
The next time we're in Svat, can you go to the candle store there?
Yeah.
It has this big wax.
I know, we've seen it, and he's holding his head.
Holding his head, yeah.
He's holding his head. Right. Okay, yeah, good. And then Gimel. Vayishuva b'nei Yisrael midlok acharei plishtim, and the Jews now returned from torching the plishtim. They went after them like a flame, lights and goes fast. Vayashos l'asbachem, and they looted their camps. Nun Daled. Vayikach David es Rosh HaPlishti, and David took the head of the Plishti, Vayivehu Yerushalayim, and he brought it to Yerushalayim. Ves Kalov Som Balo, and his equipment he put in his tent. So, what the Malbim explains, what do you mean he took to Yerushalayim? He says at the end he took to Yerushalayim. Because first he brought it before Shul, as we'll see in Pasuk Nun Zayin. And then it was brought around the Jewish cities. First of all, it was a big thing. It went on display. This wasn't a simple thing. He killed Goya, so showed Shaul his head, took it around the Jewish people, went on tour, and eventually ended up in Yerushalayim. And finally was brought there. Now, that's one issue. One second. And what about bringing it to his tent? Okay. So we're going to see it may have originally brought it into his tent, but really we'll see in a minute he brings the sword to Goliath. He brought it to Nov, the city of the Kohanim, because he wanted to be something that would be on like a museum piece. Nov was where the Mishkan was. So he brought it to Nov, and people will be able to see the great miracle that happened over there. Now there is a problem over here that it said was brought to Yerushalayim. Now, you have to understand, was Yerushalayim a Jewish city at this point in time?
No.
Had the Jews conquered Yerushalayim? So the Malbim explains that, they've conquered part of Yerushalayim and part not. Remember, ultimately the Jews don't get Yerushalayim because it's in the hands of the Yevusis. And David HaMelech, many years later, has to buy a part of Yerushalayim for the Jews. So he said at this point, the city itself was in Jewish hand, but there was a great fortress right next door in Yerushalayim, and that was in the hands of the Yevusi. So the part that belonged to the Jews, yes, another part, not. The Radak says something very interesting interpretation. He says that when it says Yerushalayim, it doesn't mean Yerushalayim. It does not mean Yerushalayim. The truth is, right, earlier in Sefer Shoftim, it says they did conquer Yerushalayim, but so the Malbim says they only conquered part of Yerushalayim. But the Radak says, very interesting pshat. He says, my father says, Ki Nov ir HaKohanim kina Yerushalayim. Nov, the city of the priests, they nicknamed it Yerushalayim. Because, why? Because there was the Plishti sword. As we'll see later on, when David HaMelech runs away from Shaul, he went to Nov, and they gave him Goliath's sword. So the sword was in Nov. It wasn't in Yerushalayim. Even though from here it would appear, you think it means Yerushalayim. He took his head to Yerushalayim, and his utensils he put in its tent. So, what's the idea over there? That so Reb Tzadok explains that Yerushalayim is a reference to the fact it's a contraction of two words, Yorei Shalem. In other words, it's a place where one can, when you come to Yerushalayim, you're supposed to come to fear Hashem. Yerushalayim is a place where Hashem's kingdom is feared. So the truth of the matter is, any city that has to do with fear of Hashem is called Yerushalayim at that time. So that's the idea. That as much as it was a place, if you would see the head of Goliath, you'd have fear of Hashem. It was a big thing. If you come there and you see Goyes and you hear the story, you say, wow, that's the most amazing thing in the world. Hashem does fight our wars. So that's Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim means Yorei. The whole reason we're Oile Regel, we go to Yerushalayim, is to come before Hashem and to fear Hashem, to learn what Hashem is all about. So if Nov had that, it was nicknamed Yerushalayim because it brings the awareness of Hashem much more to bear. So even though it wasn't actually Yerushalayim, but it functioned as what a Yerushalayim would function as. Okay, now a very strange set of psukim over here. V'cheros Shul es David yoytze likras haplishtim. It was when Shul saw David go out towards the Plishtim. Now we're going a flashback now. We finished the story, and now we bring back a little sidebar because we didn't want to break up the flow of the story. But now we go back. When Shul sees David ready to hit Goliath, Amar al Avner Sar Hatzavah. He talks to his general Avner. He says, Ben Mizeh Hanar Avner. Who is this? Who is he the son of? Avner, can you tell me who this young lad's? Who is he the son of? Who is this guy? Vayomer Avner, Chei Nafshecha Melchim Dati. I swear by the soul of the king, if I know, I don't know. Nunvav. Vayomer Amelch, the king says, Sha'al Ato, go ask. Ben Mizeh Ho Olem. Who is this? Olem means a nar. Who is this nar the son of? Find out who he is. Non Zayin. And when David finished killing the Plishti, Vayikech also Avner takes him, Vayevel Ifnei Shul, he brings him before Shul. Varosh HaPlishti B'yado, and the head of the Plishti is in his head. So he says, here, the king wants to know who you are. Nunches, Vayomer Lav Shul, Shul said, Ben Mi'ata Hanar, who are you, Nar, young man? Vayomer David, Ben Avdecha Yishai Beis Lachmi, I'm the son of your servant Yishai, who comes from Beis Lechem. So the whole thing doesn't make any sense. I mean, wasn't David playing music to him beforehand?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know who he was. So what's going on over here? Doesn't make any sense. So therefore, there's many, all the commentaries have a field day over here. What is exactly going on over here? So the Malbim says this wasn't just a simple question of who he was, but it was more of a philosophical question, because when David HaMelech was in this mode now of speaking such brave and courageous words, it's like the whole spirit of Hashem had just broken through and turned him into another man. You can have a guy comes humbly came to Shaul and says, listen, I could do it, don't worry, trust me. And all of a sudden, he didn't come across to Shaul when he spoke to him as a huge, powerful warrior and courageous and this. I mean, he's got courage, but who is this guy, right? Okay, you think you can do it, go give it a try. And then when he gets in, he starts talking to him about Hashem, it's like a whole spirit of God came over him. And all of a sudden, he wasn't this humble David who came before him. He's now, totally filled with godliness pulsating through him. He became another man. His face was shining. So when David was wearing this spirit of power, and he was giving a divine glow, Shaul couldn't recognize who this guy is. So he says, who is the spiritual man? That's the first shot. Like, where did all this spirit come from? He's a totally different guy. Where did he have within him to become so godly? That's one interpretation. Then he says, but according to the Pshat, let's try to stick more with the Pshat. He says, after Shaul, remember, Shaul made a promise: whoever kills Goliath, he'll be able to marry his daughter. So when David says he wants to fight him, so and now he sees he's actually going out, so he's already considering as he's going out to battle, says, I got to really take it seriously that this guy could marry my daughter. So I want to know how honorable was this guy's family. Now, not to know his name because he knew that his father's name was Yishai, but to know, what kind of pedigree that they have, what kind of virtues. So he's saying, who is he the son of? Meaning to say, is his father distinguished? Is he honorable? Is it someone that's suitable to be married to my house? You know, just like the royal wedding, you know, it was this girl like from she's called a commoner, right? Is she worthy? So is he a commoner? Is he worthy? That's what he's asking. And Avner didn't know. Because the greatness of Yishai was not known. That's what the Malbim says. Greatness of Yishai was not known. So then he says, so go ask who he is. And now Rambam says he's concerned to know what kind of honor does David have. Right? And he even though first he said a nar, right? First it says ben miza hanar. Malbim notice he then calls him ha'olem. Ha'olem. In other words, he wants to worry about David's honor, not to just call him a nar. Even though between him and Avner he called him a nar, but when he commanded Avner to go and ask questions, don't call him a nar in front of people. Call him an olem. I guess it's a much nicer term. And then when he brought David back to him, so and he taka slew him. So now he taka have to make the shidduch. He says, so what's your lineage? Right. So he wants to know his yichus. So David didn't even think about yichus this, yichus. You know, just listen. He didn't even think about what for the king's daughter. That's not what I'm interested in. I don't have to tell you my father's virtues. And I'm interested in you knowing my yichus because I didn't do this to get married to your daughter. Right? You know, my father's virtues only one thing. He's your servant. That's it. He's a servant to the king. You don't have to worry about his virtues. So from the Malbim, it's just a question of what. Now the problem I have with this Malbim is, Chazal tell us, Yishai was a complete tzaddik, and wherever Yishai went, there was an entourage, like a Hasidic Rebbe. An entourage always went with him. And it would most likely be by this time already, because Yishai was already older. So what do you mean he didn't know who Yishai was? Yishai was an incredible tzaddik. So that is a problem with that interpretation. Now Rashi brings from Chazal the most famous interpretation. And the Gemara, it's Gemara Yevamos, says, didn't he recognize him? Right? So he says he was worried about royalty issues. And he says like this, I know he's the son of Yishai. I know he's from Yehuda. But which part of the lineage of Yehuda is he from? Remember, Yehuda had two sons, Peretz and Zerach. Peretz and Zerach. Peretz, they knew, the tradition was that the kingly line would come from Peretz and not from Zerach. So he said, I know he's the son of Yishai. Go and check his lineage. Is he a descendant of Peretz or from Zerach? Why? Because he's from Peretz, that means he's destined to be a king, and then that's a threat to my kingdom. That's what he's saying. Who is he from? Because Peretz means to break through. Just like the first baby, Peretz, remember? When Tamar was pregnant, first Zerach takes his hand up, and then Peretz jumps through. If he's from Peretz, he's going to jump. He's going to break into my royalty. But if not, if he's Zerach, well then he'll be a good guy. But I don't have to worry about it. So Doeg says, before you ask, what family he's from, if he's fit for royalty, maybe you should ask if he's worthy to be a Jew. Because his mother is a Moabite. His grandmother great-grandmother was a Moabite, Ruth. So then Avner answers him and says, so Doeg said he can't get married, and Avner said, wait a minute, it says Ammoni v'lo Ammonis. A male can't enter, but a female could. He says, yeah, but you can't make that drasha. What about when it says a mamzer can't come in? Do we say a female mamzeres can't come? So, but it says, but they gave a reason why the Moabites can't come to us, because they didn't give us bread and water. And it's not the way of women to give bread and water. So he says, it's not the way of women to give men bread and water, but the women could have given to the women, and at that point Avner had no answer. So in other words, they're not sure, there was no answer. Is he even worthy to be a Jew, that your daughter is going to marry him? Forget about lineage, he may not be Jewish. So Shaul says, so now ask Ben Mi Ha'elem. Who is this Elem? In other words, Elem comes from the word Nisalem, forgotten. Because this halacha was forgotten from you. Go ask the base medrash, what's the halacha? Go ask the hidden halacha, what is the exact law? And that brings us to a whole new thing that I'm not going to go into right now as time is running out. But clearly it was a different question altogether. There's a little bit more to go to finish up the ideas, but we basically finished the parak. And next week we'll just finish up some small ideas here and then move on to the next parak.